Welcome to Podcast Movement 2014.
Well, those who don't know me, I like to evangelize. And today we're going to have church over here today. Can I get an amen? Today we got a speaker. And this speaker is not just any speaker. He is a freak. And I'm not talking about a freaky nature. Look at him getting all happy. Not you. I'm talking about Mr. Chris Brogan. Anyone ever read this book before? Besides the fact that Chris Brogan is a best-selling author like everywhere, like New York Times, Amazon, he's also the Batman of podcasting. Chris Brogan is a freak of nature. Chris Brogan is not only here today to inspire you on how you can become the best at what you can do, he's inspiring you on how you can lose weight. If you don't know about that, check out his new book, Start Here. Yeah, I did that. I lost 200 pounds. Thank you, Chris. But ladies and gentlemen, today, we're going to change the world. Ladies and gentlemen, today, we got a freak show. And ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the freak of podcasting, Mr. Chris Brogan.
I have never had an intro like that. There is no way this gets better from there. I need a helper. Does anyone feel a little spry? Oh, you're so fast. That was fast like lightning. I don't... Thank you. Hand those out to anyone dumb enough to take one. Need another helper? Oh, you're so peppy. Like, she's trying to make me text a message to her phone so that they can market to me in the elevator. Like, I hadn't even had coffee yet. I have a weird idea, and you need to dispense these a little bit. You have to scatter them to the wind a little bit. So give one to anybody, but don't put them all in a cluster or it'll look bad. That was my speech that I just gave her. So I hope this works, because I've never done that before. I think when we do, I am Chris Brogan, hello. I am here because my job is to equip owners. That is my job. I run a company called Owner Media Group. That is my job. I equip owners. What is an owner? An owner is the kind of person who decides that they're going to own their life. They own their choices. They own their business and thus own their future. You can be an owner if you were an employee sitting at a desk somewhere. You can be the CEO of your cubicle. That's how I started. I own my cubicle. And this is church. Didn't you hear that? You can make noises. I am the CEO of my cubicle for the longest time before I quit my day job and started doing silly things and joining the circus. The way I did that was I just took ownership a little bit every day. I am responsible for this. I am responsible is what made me an owner. You can be an attendee here, because some of your badges said attendee. I saw that. But you should scribble that out. You need to be participants. Attendees lean back and absorb and fill their notebooks full of shit they don't remember later on. You are here to deliver. You are smarter than us on the stage, because all of you equals more than me. Thank goodness. For Chef Boyardee. There will be OCD, ADD. Gotta pee. So one thing they don't tell you when you get healthy, you drink a lot of water, you make a lot of pee. That's how you get healthy. You run to the bathroom a lot. So with figuring out what owners need, I'm here to be like the least informative of the entire episode of Podcast Movement. I am the least informative. You have super smart people. You have legends like Ebo Terra here. You have John Lee Dumas, who, like, half of you all are in his little secret cult. I said that in New Media Expo. I said, Dumas, you run a cult. And I'm at once terrified of you and proud. Because like a few years before that, he's like shaking my hand at some event, like, oh, you know, any tips or ideas? And I'm like, hey, John, any ideas? So, Fire Nation kicked my ass. But I'll tell you why, because that's part of my speech. The other thing is, the other people here, well, I'll give you a lot of like a how-to stuff. I don't care what you record into. Hit record. Just hit record. It doesn't matter. Write it down. I don't care. Blog. Blogging is good. Anyone blog still? Put all your hands up. This is like Jay-Z. Put your hands up. Like that. Blogging, please. Thank you. Because Google can't hear. Google can't hear. You got to blog, right? Otherwise, how are they going to find your dumb show? Oh, well, they look at the iTunes ratings. Because you know who looked at the iTunes ratings? Podcasters, you dumbasses. No one reads those things but you and your cousin. And whatever dumb idiot bought the podcasting course that you created last week. Not John, but you know, everybody else. This is where it all goes right down the hill, though, okay? Everyone's been giggling, and, you know, Matthew looks all happy still. You're going to go right downhill right here, because you are going to go broke. This is where the truth hits the fan. I was here in 2006, except this was Ontario, stinking California. Does anybody? Come on, old days? Yeah. All right, all those people there are the people who survived the first nuclear winter. Because in 2006, we were going to own the earth. We were the coolest dudes in the room. We were all these cool podcasters. By 2007, mainstream decided podcasting was a great place to put their archive files. By 2008, everybody who was the future of podcasting was a Best Buy employee. I never saw so much blue and beige in one building than I saw the podcasters of 2006. How did they all die? They all had great shows. Most of them had no business model. Great shows, tons of passion, no money, living with mom. And look, everyone's mom is great. I love your mom. There's a tweet. Chris Brogan loves your mom. But there was no business model, right? There was nobody. I got a podcast about how much I love socks. Do you sell socks? No way, I don't sell. Selling is bad. Eating food, also bad. Having a mortgage. So I am here to be the angel of death. You are all going to die. Now, first off, that's true, right? Because like life has a 100% mortality rate, it turns out. So I didn't tell you anything you didn't know yet. Now you're all right, I'm going to die. I saw someone writing a note, I hope. But you are all going to die without a business thing. If you were here for the passion of podcasting, God bless you. Please just, be happy and passionate. But if you were here to be here next year, we have to be in business. Okay, so this conversation is about business. If you're not interested in business, stay for the jokes. That's all I want to say. I have been poor. I have been so poor. In 2005, 2006, I would fly out to events. I had not enough money to actually be at the event. I had used all my money to get there. I'd get to the airport, I'd go to the ATM and get cab money, and I would try to get $100. I'd be like, no, 40. Anyone ever play this game at the ATM? 140. 20? And then you push the account balance button, which maybe would have saved you 65 sounds, right? And I'd have nothing. And then I'd shake around in my bag, because you always throw change in your bag or something, so when you go through the airport security thing. And I would have $6, and I'd be like, okay, that's a budget. And I would eat toothpaste if there wasn't food at the event. Toothpaste is really delicious if you don't have money. And so I have been that poor, and I have been poor again. At the beginning of this year, we did not make payroll a couple months in a row. We came below payroll, so my check that I was expecting was $400. Turns out my mortgage is not $400. I found out, and it turns out an 86 clout does not buy you a house. I have not found the clout purse for a house. Just FYI. Right? So success and wealth don't really line up, right? I am very successful. I am not always very wealthy. Why? Because I invest in my business all the time. But how did I lose all that money in the early part of the year, and how am I going to find it again? Mike Stelzner, by the way, saved my life in a way, because he had a really good phone conversation with me, or it was at the end of a podcast, I forget. And what Mike said was, I just have this real sense that you are on the rise to something better and cooler right now, so just kind of weather this, because you're going to love it. And I think he was lying to me, but he's just very nice, and he just didn't want me to cry as much as I just had been. And he made it so good. And so I believe Mike Stelzner. So you should too. He's here today somewhere. So poor happens when you take your eye off sales, period. There is no other answer to that story. Poor happens when you take your eye off sales. When you are not looking for business When you're out there making sound and marketing and making wind, and you're like, hey, I'm vlogging, and I'm going to events because events are cool. If you were not doing that in the heart of business, you were sitting around waiting to go broke. And poor is when we start thinking being an employee is a good idea. That is not a good idea. Being an employee, even if you have a day job, right, you can be an owner at all times. If so, then you were taking funding from a company, is what you were doing. That is a port in a storm moment, is what you're doing. But you were not there to be an employee. An employee means you surrender, and we do not surrender. There's only one thing that we surrender to, that's our higher power, right? Everybody else gets to fight. I hope I have notes. The other thing that was going to be a problem is that I was very scattered. Everything was just all over the place. I'm just going to do everything I can because I'm dying right here. I better do things to make money. And I was scattered. I was just shooting at anything that moved. That does not help anybody. And I was time crushed like you would not believe. I don't have any time. Oh, I'm so busy. You know what? Never say I'm busy. When anyone asks you how you're doing, any time for the rest of this event and the rest of your life until you are dead, do not say I am very busy. Say I'm very blessed. Say I'm blessed. I don't know. I just wanted to say hi to you. All right, so here's where it goes. I want to explain my little business to you, and I want to explain it in intimate detail. And it's not because I'd like to make a big advertisement for myself, but I would. But I want to explain it because it will give you the model of what I did to stop being poor, and stop being scattered, and stop being time-starved. Is that useful to anybody here? All right. Oh, there's noise again. It's early, people. I have to make a confession too. So I had like an energy drink that I brought with me to put in this, and I did not bring it by mistake. I accidentally put another pen in my pocket, as if somehow ink was going to feed me. You cannot defy the plateau using ink. 5 very loyal Ben Dempsey fans just got my joke. All right. My business runs on one big, huge, important thing, and it is I equip owners. And the very first part of somebody better start looking at those little cards that we handed out. Not the stickers. You're just supposed to put those on your laptop and rock them like you really love me. What you want to do is you want to see this. Who's got entry? All right, hold that up. Not that anyone's going to read it, but just pretend you're holding up something. There we go. It says entry. Entry is one of the most important parts of my business. I need to on-ramp you into the system. If you are not in my world, then how do I give you all the love that you need? This is like a funnel, like a sales funnel, because I am in business. Entry is get my newsletter. My newsletter is the best thing I provide you every single week. I mean this when I ask you this right now. Go to chrisbrogan.com. When the stupid pop-up comes up, put your damn first name and your damn email address in and push send. I want you to. Why? Because I want you to see what it feels like to be in my loving graces inside my newsletter. My newsletter is unique in several ways. One is that content is not recycled from all over the web. It is brand new every single week. It is only seen there on my newsletter. Who gets my newsletter already? Look around the room at everybody's hand going up. Thank you. Is it fun? You are not helping me sell right now. Is it fun? Does it help your business? Less yeses. Did you hear that? Okay. I have work to do. Thank you, staff. Johnny, did you hear that? I'm so sad now. All right. Entry gets people into the system. My newsletter has something that most of your newsletters does not. A reply button works. It does not come from do not reply at pleasegoddon'twritebacktome.com. It comes from me. It gets answered by me, not Ron Hood. Anybody who ever works with Ron Hood knows he's a loving man, but he is no Chris Brogan when it comes to replies. Ron will thorough the hell out of you. Ron is a detail-oriented gentleman. I am not. I don't even know where I parked. I hope Boston. Entry gets people into your system. It gets them to understand what you're about, what you offer, how much you love them. Start at the door with I love you. By the way, on the back of that entry is a little written down couple of letters. I think it's OMFG, right? I want you to hand that to someone who does not yet subscribe to my course, Owner's Mastery Foundation Group, and that person will come to me, and that person will tell me, thank you for my free course, Owner's Mastery Foundation Group. You get to hand it out. Look at you, giving prizes to people. Make sure you get to know the person that you hand it out to. All right. Who has engage? Very nice. All I'm not going to put my hand up. Do it like that. Okay, engage. Once you've got these people entered into your world, you must engage them. That's why there's a reply. That's why there's the chance to hit back to me. When people do, they always say the weirdest things to me, like, you replied. Yes, that's why I say hit reply. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, 2 balls and a bat and gloves and all that stuff, and we're going to play baseball. We are? Right? So, all right. Engagement comes in lots of different ways. It comes in remembering names, Frank. It comes in knowing who people are. It comes in having conversations with them on their space. We talked about tank engines last night. So we had a lot of great conversations, and that's what business is about, is engaging with people. Now here's what I think. I think a lot of you, especially you with heart, you podcasters with heart who have no money, I think you're so good at engaging. I think you business-minded podcasters suck at engaging. I think you hump people's leg, which is not engaging. Buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, get off me. Humping my leg is not engagement. It is for you. It's a laundry bill for me. Whose mind is blown when they thought what they were going to get this morning, right? That's why I can't be in church. So I want you to hand out that engage and meet somebody and engage with them, because they're now the recipient of what course? What does it say in the back? DBM, Digital Business Mastery, another course I sell. Which should help you all. This is probably the secret most important one. It's the third one, embed. Not like get in bed, E-M-B-E-D. You must be embedded. People must feel like they are part of your experience all the way through. They must feel like they are in it. Anybody talk to me last night? What did I talk about last night? I talked about the Spartan Race. I would not stop talking about the Spartan Race. Anybody a CrossFitter in the room?
Yes.
Hands up high. Come on, you're all bathed, right? Okay. I just want you to note those people. Do not talk to them. How do you know someone's a CrossFitter? Don't worry, they'll tell you. Do you do kipping pull-ups? Yes, I do. Burpees. Why is it that things like social media and weird sports have things that we don't ever really want to say aloud to other people? Like, in what world do we ever have to start saying things like tweet and blog and yo and burpee? Embedding means making the experience feel like you are part of something. People pay $200 or more a month to go to CrossFit, or $20 a month, or $10 if you're cheap ass, to go to Planet Fitness. And in Planet Fitness, they give you a bagel and pizza because that's part of fitness. And in CrossFit, you pay $200 to sweat and rip a meniscus. And people love it. I loved the Spartan Race. I loved everything about it. It changed my life. It changed my relationship. And all the way through, you were embedded in that experience. The other thing is, when you get your winner's medal, your finisher's medal, you also get a little triangle-y sort of third of a medal that says, this is 1/3 of one trifecta. They're upselling me into 2 more races on the medal. Is that not brilliant? Again, if you didn't listen to me and you did not say, I'm going to get my newsletter, get my newsletter. ChrisBrogan.com, I write about the Spartan Race as a business thing this coming Sunday, so I want you to get that. Why? Because I'm blown away. I did some work for Joe DeSena, the guy who co-founded Spartan, one of the most brilliant dudes I know. Does 300 burpees a day, every day before he does anything else. In a row, dudes. The 11 of us who do burpees just went, oh. So that's embed. That is a huge one though, because the way you embed is you get people, oh, who's got the embed thingy? A card, embed, way up high so I can see it, wave the card. Nobody has embed. There you go, reading is fundamental. Excellent. What's on the back of embed?
OMFG.
So that's OMFG as well. Please hand that out to someone and get to know them and they get to come up. When you get the card, don't just hold the card. It does not magically log you into my system. Please come find me. But that's what embed means. Embed means to get you in. So my Owner's Mastery Foundation group is a daily drip of business advice. It comes out, it's just small daily emails. They're useful, they're not just tiny little things. In fact, some people cancel because they said, you give me too much to do. I said, yes, it's a path. Like, you're supposed to go down this path with me. You're supposed to be like, I'm making money happen. And I've had another lady say to me today, she just took a $17,000 higher paying job because of advice that she got out of OMFG. So I'll take that one. Thank you, Lana Lee, up in Maine. Anybody know her? On Elite's couch, it's just me. I'm alone in my room. Okay. The last one is empower. Who's got the empower? These are my 4 A's. Very good. Way in the back. Good job, runner lady. Jennifer, right? Good job, running lady. You did great. So empower this is why Fire Nation kicks everyone's ass, is because John Lee Dumas empowered you to go launch your own podcast and do something. It's the oldest thing in the world. Gary Leland was doing it. Excitable Gary Leland. Sell picks and shovels, ladies and gentlemen. Empower people to do their thing that they want to do. People come to your podcast to be empowered. If it is to listen to you talk about your day, how empowered do they feel? They feel like I had a friend. You know who listens to a podcast that's about your day? Lonely people. Unless you're selling an awesome lonely product, you're going to have a lonely wallet because there's lonely no dollars in it. Empower people. Give them something that makes them smarter, stronger, better, faster. Kanye West back when he wasn't as weird. Yes. Everybody empower people. That is what business is. Business is empowering people. Eric knows that. It is all about that. It is about making sure people rise and do what they're worth doing. Why do people go to church? Because they feel down, they want to feel up again. They want to feel the power in that room. They need to borrow something from that experience. You must create church in your podcast. You must empower. If your podcast is not empowering, shut it down. Unless you're just doing it for yourself. There are so many great masturbation podcasts out there right now. Not even kidding. It's just I'm pushing record and pushing publish because I'm a podcaster right now. And you're doing it for yourself. That's okay. I masturbate. Everybody does. Except for sad people. But I just don't listen to you masturbate. That's the one difference. Because that gets weird. Unless you want to make that offer. Alright. So, empower people. So I've talked about loving your mom, I've talked about masturbation. I can't wait to see the tweet screen. I'm telling you. Empower people, please, and thank you. Why do I do it that way? Why am I crass? Because it goes right through your little donkey heads and you go, whoa, you just said masturbate. And then whatever I say right after you hear. It's the weirdest thing. That's a free one for you. That's how comedy works. Comedy turns on a whole part of your brain that makes you so receptive for the next thing because you liked the last thing. It's actually how gambling works as well. I'm tweaking the same part of your brain that gambling does. That's how Twitter and Facebook work as well. That was interesting enough that I will now scroll much more to see if something else is interesting enough. That is a magic trick. Free. You didn't have to pay. Now, what are the 3 takeaways? I don't even know how I'm doing for time. That's the one thing we don't have up here is one of those little clocks that says you are awesome. How am I doing with time? Am I like an hour over? Anybody? Nobody. I'm just talking, and I'm talking until loud music comes, kids. All right. I got 3 more things. Who's got the one that says mission? There we go. What's on the back of that one? Digital Owner's Path, right? Ooh, that's a good course. That's my favorite course. Here's what's wrong and here's why you were scattered, losing time, losing money, because you do not have your mission as the center of what you're doing. Mission-driven execution is what changed my business. That's why I went from being poor to not being poor again. When we do this in our life, it's because we kept falling off our mission. Your mission is the thing that drives everything you do. Not your podcast, you weird monkeys. Everything you do. Your mission drives everything. And when I say mission, it is in what way do you participate with others, and in what way do you serve them, what do you bring to that table, and who are they? That's why the book The Freak Shall Inherit the Earth was what it was about. It was about you can be weird because there's people who need the weird that you are. That's what the whole book's about. So when you see it out there, that's what that is. It is an entrepreneurship book with bats on the cover. Why does it have bats on the cover? The bat signal. Crazy monkeys. Because I am calling the freaks to me. That's why. And because it made non-freaks not buy the book. Bats, I'm not buying this book. Good, because it wasn't for you. Cool, bats! That's who bought the book. That's how it works. That's the mission. The mission is I need freaks. I need people who want to be different from the person beside them. People who do not want to fit in. That is my mission. I equip owners to help them win the game they most want to win. That is the game. That is what I do. That is my mission. So my mission is to make you successful. That's what I'm in business for. I'm not in business to hear myself think. I talk to myself all day. You probably do too. You talk to me all day. The mission is what drives everything. If you don't have your mission locked down hard, you cannot figure out the right goals, the right targets, the right tasks to do. Frank understands that. Frank was U.S. Marine Corps. Frank knows if you don't have the mission in place, there is no sense. Take that hill, but that's a soccer field, right? There has to be a mission behind what you do. The mission drives all of it. That is the biggest thing I can tell you in this room. That's what changed my entire business career. That's why I bothered to make this course called Owner's Path. People are asking me, how do you podcast? How do you tweet? How do you use social media? None of that matters. If you don't have the mission laid down, whatever your business model is not going to work really well for it. And part of my mission, the reason I was falling apart, is because I wasn't selling that as strongly as I had to. If you're not in sales, you're not in the game. Mission drives everything. That is number one. Number two, you must make your own game. And when I say that, you need to understand who has the game card. Thank you. That is also, I think, an owner's path. So we'll find someone and make them happy. We all get this other person. Make your own game means basically this. There is the game you are playing right now, especially if you're an employee somewhere else. You have to understand the rules of that game. If you think the game is to get the 3% raise every year, you are wrong. That is not the game. 3% is for suckers. You are trying to find a whole different game. How do I make this build my career? How do I get the connections I need for the future? How do I need what assets? That's where you start figuring out. So you start figuring out what the rules of the game are, who the players are of the game are, how to score that game. That is where money happens. Once you understand the system and how to score, that is when you start understanding how other people are more successful than you and you can't figure out why. There are two ways to figure that out. One is become an expert at mapping games. Second is read and actually really read, don't just buy it, Freakonomics, and understand incentives. It's a super secret master book. That book's made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it saved me lots of sleepless nights of how did this happen versus that. Hugely powerful. So make your own game is the second part of this. So mission-driven execution, make your own game. The mission decides how the game is played. You decide how the game is mapped into the world, right? Who has map? I'm the map. Matt, there you are, right in the middle. I'm so sorry. That was, wow, Jennifer, great job, spreading those to the four corners. Map your actions to your day. People say to me, I want to make $1 million a year. And I say, great, that's $22,000 a week. Maybe I don't want to make $1 million a year. Because a lot of times people have this weird thought that the $1 million a year comes somewhere at the end of the year. Like, okay, congratulations, here's your check. Like, you can just play Xbox, you know? I gotta lose 100 pounds. Okay, well, a year from now, you'll lose 100 pounds. Don't worry about that Snickers bar right now. That's nothing. Your day is your year, right? So you have to map your actions to your day. That is the most important part of getting that mission to work. So mission to game to map is the owner's path. That's what the whole plan is. That's the whole way this gets done, is you map your action to your day. People say to me, man, you must be so busy. They say like it's such a badge. I'm like, I schedule my day to 40% every day. 40%, bitches. Do you know why? Because if you let your computer run at 100%, you have a smoldering mass after about 5 minutes. If you run your car at 100%, you are going car shopping very shortly. Anything in your life set to 100% explodes. Life is not meant to be 100%, except for love. You must schedule your actions to map to your mission, and that has to be part of the game, right? This is how this all works together. Map your actions to your day. So every day, if you're not making your sales call, every day, if you're not figuring out your way that you drive, all those other things, you know, entry, engagement, and power, and bend, if you don't help people get to that by figuring it out daily, what are you, 25 minutes? I have all the time in the world. We can ask you questions. I talk so fast for not having enough calories and sugar. This is how that all goes together, right? We have to make the day's actions match the mission, match the goals, match all of those things. That's how it all works. That's what podcasting can be for you. Not that I know how much time I have, we can talk podcasting for a minute. Podcasting is part of this because podcasting is a way to get people into the world that you want them to understand. It is a way to put the liner notes to the soundtrack of your business. It is a way for people to better understand how you empower them and let them hear the story from your lips. Podcasting is a way that they can hear the passion that you share for your business, but this is a passion that powers some kind of business effort. Otherwise, again, it's masturbation. Podcasting is a great opportunity to connect with people in a great way and make them feel like they're part of something bigger. It is a way to bring people who are experts in whatever you want these people to learn to bear if you do great interviews. Here's the 5 things I wish you wouldn't do in podcasting. I'm making it up on the spot, there's no notes. I hope there's 5. Number 1. Stop copying other people's podcast formats. Stop it. TV doesn't work that way, kind of, sort of. I mean, there's usually a little bit of something different, right? Stop it. There's only one American Ninja Warrior show on TV. Thank God. Stop copying other people's format. Number 2, if you have that weird passive calm voice or something, but that's not how you ever talk any other time, stop it. Right? Like, we're not hiring you to be NPR. We want you. We want the real you. We want the real voice that you would use if you were excited at a bar talking to me about the thing that you most want me to do. I don't want your professional voice. I mean, look, there's ways to do it better. There's ways to not say, stop saying that's one. Stop saying Just pause, it's okay. We understand dead air. Number 4, stop making super long shows that don't need to be super long. Please refer to my previous comment, masturbation. This is now getting me sore, right? Stop it. There are very few podcasts that are worth multiple hours. I like this gentleman. I like what he stands for. I cannot endure the show. Rogan Experience, one of the top podcasts in the world, so I'm crapping on like the guy at the head of the food chain. I tried it. I was listening and I was like, I'm sleepy. He's very interesting in doses, but not many hours. Please don't make a multi-hour show unless you are a multi-hour amazing person, and you're not. Because otherwise you'd be right here. And how long's my show? It's less than an hour, but I take 3 10 or so minute interviews and mix them all together. And the only reason I did that, I would make you a 10-minute show, I really would. But people evidently play me out running. And so I decided to give you a few so you could run a little further. Because you just weren't quite getting it done, is what I was told. So that's why I do what I do. The other thing, have I already given you 5? Because I'll give you 8 more. The other thing, I have 1 more, thank you. Tie this to something more than your show page. Please make it part of your business if you're going to make it part of your business. Digital Business Mastery, which I put together. I'll give you the real basic formula for free. By the way, all my courses are 50% off for the next couple weeks. So here's the way the ecosystem works. You go out on the social networks to engage with people and also to point people towards your media empire. Your podcast is part of your media empire. Your podcast and your media is to get them to some site where you help convert them to the thing they most need to succeed in this universe. That is what you were in business for. Social network to media empire to home base. That is the process. That's the model. That is how business happens. Help people do the thing they most want to do. That is how you equip people for success. I'm going to guess that I have like 20 minutes. Jeez, the time is going so slow. I hope the day goes faster than this. I'm totally joking. I love you all. I would be nowhere else if I weren't here with you right now. Is there church here? I think it would be good to do some questions, or I can just keep rambling. Who wants questions? Anybody? Let's just start. Belt it out nice. Do we have to do a mic runner? Is that like a requirement for you filming? Okay, go.
So you mentioned Freakonomics, a huge Freakonomics fan, but I want to know what you read that empowered you.
Incentives. The only thing you need to know in that book, Freakonomics, because the whole book is written about the one word incentive. That is it. Basically, why does somebody do what they do? Once you understand incentives, you understand business models so much better. Oh, I think this is the love of my life finally waking up. Oh, nope. So, just taking a message on the stage. Another question, there was one kind of diagonally this way. You go.
Could you talk some more about differentiation and not following the mold of other podcasts and striking out, being different?
How to be different. How to be a freak. Okay, so first off, one of the things is most of you in the room who are freaks know you're a freak, you just feel weird about it. Saying this in Texas doesn't make any sense, but if you understand that I had this conversation in Las Vegas with a young lady in this room, she told me that she is secretly a country music fan. And this is one of the best conversations I had at New Media Expo. And if this girl did a podcast about her love of country music, I would be buying albums through her podcast. Because I don't like country music, but boy, did she like it. And I wanted to be like what she was like because she had so much energy. She went from this nice person talking to me to Kenny Chesney! I don't even know any country people's names. I know Kenny Chesney because she said it like that. 8 months ago. That's what it is to be a freak. Freaks are the people with tattoo-level obsession about something. And they want you to love it because they love it. And they would talk to you like, CrossFitters are freaks, right? Reebok is a freak business because Reebok married CrossFit and married the Spartan Race. They said, we don't want to make shoes for everybody. We want to make shoes for you, CrossFit. We want to make shoes for you, Spartan Race. I love Score running shoes. Mike Vardy and I have the same sneakers on. But I can tell you that I wore my Reebok all-terrain CrossFit shoes, all-terrain Spartan Race shoes, and they were awesome for the Spartan Race because there's a lot of mud and there's a lot of venting. That's a freak business. So freaks aren't tiny businesses. They can be any size business, but they're the ones who serve people with a great passion who love what you love. Dungeons and Dragons people from the way old days. Anybody? Roll a saving throw against nerd right now? Okay. When you were really into D&D, you were a freak about it. You were walking around thinking about your character all day. If you were a dungeon master, you were sitting there going, how do I hurt those bastards? Right? All day long. I mean, I remember one day I was in class, I was in high school, and I'm sitting there and I'm supposed to be thinking about something else, and I'm sitting there thinking, they took all this treasure and they're set up in this villa, and now they're playing like Sim City or something instead of Dungeons and Dragons because they're so happy. How do I blow up their house? And I spent like my whole school day thinking about that. Like, how do I do it in a way that doesn't look like I'm just ruining their fun? So that is what freaks do. But so to differentiate, to make yourself a little different, stop copying. You know, people say to me, "Oh, but how do I know I'm doing it right?" Stop watching other people's show. No one ever won a race looking sideways. That's a very, thank you for my applause. That was the best awkward moment ever because it was like, I think he paused so that I should clap. I paused because I'm choking. There's a little kind of something right back there. No one ever won a race looking sideways. The other thing to know about differentiation is that if you are really laser honed on your mission, there is no differentiation. You are on the mission. You just go after it. Oh, but someone else does a show just like mine. Someone else does everything just like yours. Sex, it turns out, is pretty much the same. There's some variations, obviously, but it's the same, and yet people like it, I'm told. So, it all goes back to sex. You know, humans are wired for 3 basic things. 51 minutes, that is the best. Was that 15, but you just did it backwards? That's good math. It's like, time is going backwards! It's like Groundhog Day. Not as fun. Oh, there's a hand way back there. Go loud.
So you talk about not copying people.
Yes.
I look up to like you and like Estelle.
Oh, well, copy me.
So what's the great differentiation between copying and modeling?
Oh, what's the differentiation between copying and modeling? Modeling looks like this. Copying, there's a big machine in glass. Okay. So, Redhead Writing, Erica Napolitano has a really great thing called the CASE method. Copy and steal everything. And she's right, steal everything. You don't have to do anything special or new, just do it your way. That's the real difference, it's your way. I mean, it's Burger King, have it your way. If they didn't put it in, it would just been like, have it. So the idea to model and to copy, to do it is to really steal it but make it your own. I hear so many podcasts that start like this, shitty kind of groove music. Welcome to the podcast. Donkey Dog. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to episode such and such and such. That is like 26 of your podcast in this life. Stop it. I want to see a very short 1-minute episode that says Chris Brogan said I'm wrong, and then I want you to fix it. Stop it. Who saw Guardians of the Galaxy? Yeah. All right. That scene where what's-his-face is trying to describe their policy, and he's going, boola, 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 boola. That's all I hear when I hear that. Dum, dum. I had a great conversation with a guy at an airport. I mean, I don't like to, everyone who offered to buy me lunch or dinner or something and I said no to you, it's because I don't want to have lunch or dinner with you. And that's way too long a time, because I don't know if it's going to be any good. So we have to have coffee, right? Coffee is the measurement. And if I love you, I don't have lunch or dinner with people I love. But listen, I had dinner with this guy, and I was just loving him. I was just like, this guy is so awesome and so energetic, and wah! And he's like, yeah. And so I fly home and I listen to his podcast. Episode 61. I was like, who are you? Stop it. No one cares what episode number it is but you. Your episode number should be called I'm Not Dead Yet. Very few TV shows use episode numbers. Nice, right? Nice loud. Go.
Hi, I'm Jessica from Interview Connections.
How did you get a microphone?
I am the best person in the room.
Yes, you are.
I wanted you to talk more about blog posts because I talk to a lot of podcasters that say, well, I podcast and then I do show notes. But I don't really think that's the same as blogging. I feel like you also need to be blogging, so I wanted you to tell everyone they're wrong and they should also be blogging.
I love this. I'm being ordered. Okay. Jessica says you're wrong. Let's start there. And also, yeah, show notes, I mean, that's like reading the ingredient label, right? I mean, it's kind of cool, and it's nice that you can get links. And by the way, people do want show notes. I do not give show notes. But it is, people want them. I just don't do it because it seems like work. Blogging is equipping people with stuff that they can do. What did I start with? I'm Chris Brogan. I equip owners. If we want to equip... Weird. We want to... It's like creepy. You equip people for success. You give them the tools they need to go next. So what would be great in a blog post is not anything to do with your show. You can match it to your show if you want, but what would be really neat is to actually have interesting content that wasn't just your show on the blog part. That would be neato, because then people can do something a little more. They just listen to you, and they do want to know what to click on. That's okay. They do want to find the person you mentioned. That's cool. But give them something else. Something else, right? The Westin Hotel, you're embedded in an experience here, the Spartan Race. Once you finish the Spartan Race, they go find your pictures. Go put this badge on Facebook. Go do this other thing. I love you. That's the whole deal. So that's how that all gets done. Another question? Oh, thank you. There's now a guy with a thing and a thing. Go.
That's right. We just passed the mic around at this point. Dave Jackson from the School of Podcasting. If you were on a desert island with $500, no, I'm kidding.
Masturbate.
We've seen the don't hump your leg is bad. If you don't ask for the sale, you don't get it. How do you determine the happy medium?
The best trick in the universe in sales is never, ever, ever trying to sell to someone, but equipping them to make the best possible success choice of their own free will. That is how sales gets done. Sales is adding value to somebody and improving the value so much that they cannot not take the wallet out and make it happen. If people in this audience say, wow, that Chris Brogan was funny, I seem to like him, I would love to understand what his courses are like because he clearly must know what he's talking about because they made him speak first as a keynote. Then I have equipped you to make a better choice, right? So that is the goal. That is the real goal of sales. But the trick is you must be selling. And sometimes that means you've got to be out there saying, hey, here's what I'm offering, here's what I'm doing. And if you can do it in a funny way like I've done multiple times, then that usually works a lot better than buy my dumb thing. You know, there are people who go to bars and look at 5 girls and say, want to sleep with me? And no one says no. And then you go to the next one, hey, want to sleep with me? And some of those guys get something. But then they got to go visit a doctor. So that's what they did with their 500 desert island dollars. So, you know, you got to do it just right, you know. And you can't say the same thing to everybody. If I tell everyone in the front row they have nice eyes, I only needed about 4 of you. Johnny has nice eyes. So that's how it goes. I guess I'll just keep letting Green Man with the microphone do his thing. So hands for a microphone. There's one in the edge here. I love you all for asking questions, by the way.
Chris,
yes.
love your style. I'm Steve Zellers. Has anyone told you that you remind us of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo?
No.
You're seriously, as you do this, I just love it.
I love that you said Shaggy because you know he's pretty skinny, but no. But I had a really drunk guy come up to me and say he thought I was the dude. And also who said that to me was Stephen Pressfield, so I'll take it from Pressfield. He just stopped me in an interview and goes, do you know you kind of look like the dude? Do you know you look like Stephen Pressfield? All right, a couple more questions. There's one gentleman up here. Run! Forrest. That was incredible. Right here. You might have to reach for this, though. I like your tie.
I don't have a tie on.
I don't like it.
Thank you. I'm Bob Long from Tampa.
Hi, Bob.
We love what you're doing.
I love you, Bob.
Fantastic. Just want to ask you, what do you pretend to be sort of the near future that you see in podcasting, and how do you see podcasting impacting corporate America or the world of corporate culture?
Corporate culture and podcasting. What a great question. I see podcasting impacting corporate culture that a lot of you podcasters are going to have to go back and work at a corporation. That's the honest answer. The much more uplifting answer is, when I started talking about podcasting back in 2006, I was still working for the mothership. I had a day job. And I was like, boss, you can listen to these podcasts, they're so awesome. And he's like, go back to your desk. And that's what I got. And multiple times, yeah, wikis are awesome, wikis are cool. Remember wikis? No, go back to your desk. Blogging, we gotta be blogging. I started blogging in '98 when they were calling it journaling. And I was all about the blogging. Nobody wanted my blog at my company, they could have cared less. The corporate podcasts are sad and miserable, unless it's like an entertainment organization. They're horrendous. And they're as grueling and miserable as the little gray suits that made them. And I think that there's such great opportunity in that space, but I don't sell to corporations anymore. I sell to owners. Not a great plan. Thanks for the 2 applauses. Not a great plan because corporations have money and you bitches don't. But I'm working on it. It's like tapas. It's like small little bites now instead of an actual meal. I have 50 minutes now. This is like time travel.
All right, you said that.
Is this our dinner conversation or what?
No, very similar. No, just mentioning about corporate America, podcasting, and with the freaks. Do you think that is where America or the world is going to be going toward the freaks?
That's a really good question. I think we're already seeing it though. You know, if we see all this artisan business happening. We see like bacon sellers in Brooklyn kind of stuff. We see artisan stuff happening all over the place. That there's people willing to pay for craft. How do you beat Walmart? You beat it by craft. Now I don't think Walmart is in and of itself an evil place. I buy toilet paper there. I wander the aisle. I bought my kids bathing suits there and crap like that. I am not one of those guys. I think big giant corporations are awesome as the backdrop to much more interesting things. I think that there's ways to integrate both things. I love big companies. because they keep all the infrastructure going, right? You know, we can't keep the tax to make a road work or anything like that. If we went right back to the cottage system, we would be back in the feudal times, and we'd be burning people when they made us sad. You know, so there are some reasons why corporations have to exist. I just don't have to need them. There's enough people willing to be attendees who can go work at a corporation so that we can be participants and be owners. And that's my goal. My goal is to free the people who want to be freed. There's a lot of people who don't want to do what we want to do. Right? You know it. You talk to some people in your town or whatever, or you're out at a restaurant or someone asks you what you do and you explain it and they look at you and they're like, I don't know what you're saying. You just start changing your story right then and there. I was on an airplane with a lady, this is years ago, and she turned out to be so crazy. Like, I had really thought about jumping off the plane. But she turned to me, she goes, what do you do? And I said, I work in internet video, which I did at the time. And she's like, what, like porn? We're taxiing in Boston, and I'm going to land at LAX. You all get this now? 3,000 plus miles with this nice lady, who turned out to be a former pole dancer, and who had got kicked out of rehab for fraternizing with another rehabber, whose ex-husband was the pilot of the plane. All true. You know, snakes on a plane? I don't even know what skanks on a plane. I don't know. But anyway, that's who we are not, to answer the question, Chris, from last night. So we are not them. We are not a lean back community. We are the participants. We're the owners. We choose to make our business. All right, one more question, and then I want to leave. I don't have to leave, but I want to. Go.
First off, I'm supposed to give a hi from cousin Bernie.
Oh, hi, Bernie.
I got this question actually asked to me last night, but I want to echo it over to you.
Go.
How do I know if I'm just getting started with my podcast, which I'm established, but this person wants to know, how do I know if the direction I'm heading with my show is going to be one that I'm going to want to stick with and keep going so I don't give up?
You never know that. And you should give up. People think quitting is bad. Quitting is awesome. I launched Owner Magazine October 2013. I closed it this month. Why? Because it just wasn't making enough revenue. It wasn't making enough bang. I had 40,000 and 60,000 uniques every month, and then it stalled at 60 and stayed 60 for quite a while. That doesn't make anything happen. I have over 200,000 uniques at chrisbrogan.com, so there's no purpose in having a 60,000 website unless I can really monetize it, and I couldn't because of my model. So I killed it. I killed a magazine that I thought was going to be the future of my entire business entity. Why? Kill your babies. And I thought it's a writing thing, not a real babies thing. It's a writing thing. Kill the thing that you think is the most important part of the story. That is, that is the most important lesson you can learn in business, is don't love something just because you think it should win. Love it if it's part of business. What is business? Business is making money by adding value to other people's lives. Do not pursue things that are not adding value to other people's lives, or else you will be, I'm not going to say it a fifth time. So, I love that you filled it in your heads. So, that is the biggest lesson. That's a whole part of the owner's path, the whole concept of having your mission. Once you have your mission, you won't quit no matter what. Once you have your mission, it doesn't matter if you're living in a dumpster, because you know the mission is the right mission. But until you do know that, then quit everything. Quit everything that doesn't work. Just keep making business until it works the right way. A lot of times people get the wrong part of the value chain. However, don't forget Seth Godin in the dip, right? There's the dip and then there's everything. I'm a big zero. There is a dip before you get to the best part. And remember, there's this really awesome Venn diagram. You know what those are? It's like a circle and a circle. Comfort is in this circle. Awesome is in this circle. And they do not overlap. Okay? You must be uncomfortable to be awesome. I love every one of you except for you. And I'm Chris Brogan. Thank you for your time.
In 2015, podcast movement goes west. Mark your calendars now, as Podcast Movement 2015 is headed to the Omni Hotel in downtown Fort Worth, Texas. July 31st through August 2nd. We'll see you next year in Fort Worth.